Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to today's conversation with myself, Sara Jane, and with Enolia. Enolia, great to see you. And today's conversation is what is holding you back? Which I think that both of us have got so much stuff going on at the moment that we haven't got time to be held back. I hope you can hear me. Enolia, can you hear me? Oh dear, we've been having a few technical issues, folks. And Enolia obviously can't hear me and hasn't realized that we are live. Oh, I do love this. Right, I'm going to have to send her a little note and hopefully she has, we are live. Can you hear me? Oh, that didn't work. Live. Can you hear me? Right, can you see the message? Can you hear me, Enolia? Because I can hear you. Enolia, speak to me. I don't know whether you can see. I don't know whether she can see the messages. Can you see the message? You need to try and come out and come back in again because something's gone wrong. I love it. I love technology. Enolia, can you look? Oh, she can't hear me. Okay. Oh, I love this. Ladies, oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. No, 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 no. Go back. Go back. Oh, Enolia says she's got it. She's got it. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for that. This is going to be great fun. What is holding you back? Technology. Right. Okay. Hopefully she will be able to get back in again. And this time we will be able to speak. She'll be able to hear me and she will speak to us. This is, oh, don't you love technology? Here she comes. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Enolia, can you hear me?
Now I can. Yes, I can. Turn video on. There we are. Hi. How are you?
Welcome to the program, Enolia.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be a part of this program. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who is out there.
We had a real issue because you obviously couldn't hear me. And so sitting there, and I tried putting messages into the chat, but you obviously couldn't see those either. So
no, and actually it kicked me off the program and I came back on. So excellent. It's all good.
So the question we're working with today is what is holding you back? And I actually turned around and said technology.
I absolutely love it because it has been a technological challenge today. Yes, it has.
Okay, but let's get to the topic. And great, we've got you. That's the most important thing. The question is, what is holding you back? But I wonder whether the question shouldn't be more of who is holding you back?
And I think that that is a profound question because, you know, we say a lot of sayings. And one of the sayings that we talk about is getting out of our own way. You know, and when you really, really try to dissect what getting out of your own way means, is that we have a perspective. And that perspective says, this is how I advance forward. But that perspective also brings forward with it the limited view that we see in how to get forward. And getting out of our own way is really to drop and put our limitations down and try to take a 360-degree view of what it means for us to move forward in whatever regard that we're looking to move forward in. So to me, getting out of your own way is or what is holding you back can be very powerful and very hard.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from the comments you've just made, the box does not exist. Only you can limit your thoughts. Bruce Van Horn, and that's one that I think found this morning. I love the quotes that are out there because there is so much profound truth in them, and I think we understand that. And have I lost you again, Enolia?
No, you haven't. I'm right here. I'm right here, just listening intently.
I thought, oh dear, here we go again.
And I'd love to add to that too, because what limits us? And, we have these beautiful structures. We have our belief systems. And our belief systems just are, that's who we are, how we were brought up, how we were raised, how we were taught things. But one of the things that we have to recognize is the beauty of diversity, because there's no such thing as one way. There are many roads to the same thing, and that's what diversity brings. So when I have a goal or a vision, there's not just one path to it. There are many paths to it. And in recognizing that there are many paths to it, sometimes getting to it isn't a straight line, the one way that we perceive to get to it. Sometimes it means we go right, we go left, we go right, we go up, we go down, and then finally we get to the road. But if we only see the straight line, we actually close off any other paths that would allow us to get to that same vision.
I think if each and every one of us was to take a look at our own life and the experiences we've had, and I think the important thing is how we've reacted to those experiences, how those experiences have made us feel that we've reacted in the way we have. And it's the learned behavior that is the limitation, because we don't have any limits beyond those that our mind and our experiences say we have.
Yes. Well, I like to term it a little bit different. I have a different approach to it. I think about what aspect of me is leading when I'm in a reactionary mode. Because reaction is about emotion. And a lot of times we love to lead with our emotions. But leading with your emotion all the time may not necessarily be serving you in the most positive way. When you're so busy reacting that you lost the ability to listen, the clarity to observe, the need to be able to perceive the many doors that have opened in what's been presented to you, then you're missing an opportunity because you're too busy reacting. And I find that sometimes when I am leading with my emotions, it's literally a distraction from what I'm capable of doing and how I'm capable of viewing something through very, very clear eyes.
When we don't stop, when we don't step back from a situation, because what somebody has said or done may have been absolutely done with the best of intentions and in no sense, way, or form of meaning to hurt, disrupt, or anything else, any negative term you wish to put on it. But depending on the frame of mind we're in, the experiences we have had, and what's actually going on in that precise moment in time for us, we can totally misinterpret, misunderstand, get the wrong end of the stick. But by stepping back, we can think, open up to, okay, is this meant in the way I've initially taken it? Or is there more to this than I'm seeing in the first hearing, whatever, listening of this?
Yes. Well, I like to make it even, I love exactly what you said. And I like to help people see it using the analogy akin to a movie. You're watching a movie. There are those of us who love to watch the movie, and we're in the movie. We are the characters, and we're responding like the characters respond, and we're appalled like the characters, and we're reacting just like the characters in the movie. And then there are those of us who observe the movie, and we're watching the characters, and we're watching the story unfold, and we're taking in the facts, and we're receiving the information. But because we're not in that emotional place, like you said, step back or become the observer, we're able to see the complete picture or the complete storyline and watch the story and look at the many paths that the story can unfold in. And as it unfolds, see, oh, here's a potentiality that the story could go into. And then we're thinking and we're receiving and we're listening. And that's very, very different than reacting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a powerful place to be when you can step out of the emotional state or put the emotional state aside after even having it and look back at the story and observe it and see what the storyline was. Because if you can do that, then you can learn the lessons from it. Then you can anticipate the potentialities it may go in and be prepared. You can actually see what triggered the emotion in it. And then you can actually see the characters and the roles that they're playing. Is someone angry, or are they just throwing a tantrum because they're in their child way? You know, are they really, really hurting me, or is it that they triggered a portion in me that hurts, that makes me feel hurt? And because they've reached a pain point, I'm really hurting myself. You know, emotion can be beautiful and releasing, but it can also be a distraction if it's not put in perspective and exhibited at the moment that it needs to be exhibited and then stepped out of.
And having the emotions is good. Feeling is something that we should be freely doing. Feeling is really, really important. The one thing we're not saying here is don't feel. Feel. But be aware of those feelings. Are those feelings, for want of a better word, coming from your head or coming from your heart?
Heart. Yes. So agreed.
Yeah. If your feelings are coming from your heart, then really do listen to those. I'm not saying don't listen to the feelings in your head, but the way you listen to them is totally different. It's try and get a sense of which it is. Is it heart or is it head?
That's interesting. That
head, then that there's much more exploration to be done with head. If it's heart, just listen and go with it.
Well, that's interesting because a lot of people will ask, well, how can you discern when you're processing from your head versus processing from your heart? And you know, I always find that interesting because for me it goes back to even understanding and defining what fear is. Okay? And to me, when I define fear, I look at it as a bubble that we are comfortable operating in. And as soon as we go beyond that bubble, that perspective, that comfort zone, we're in fear. We're like, oh, this isn't normal. This isn't my norm. This is beyond where I feel comfortable. You know, how much risk am I really looking at taking here? You know, because I'm not comfortable with that. You know, well, how far are we going to go? Well, you know, here's where I'd like to operate at because I know it's safe, it's comfortable. You know, I put on that coat every day and it feels nice and warm and fuzzy. And then when you go beyond that point, that bubble, it's uncomfortable. The heart always loves imagination, vision, going beyond the norm. And the head always loves that comfort. So when you find yourself questioning, ask, How am I questioning? Am I questioning because I am out of my comfort zone and therefore I'm not willing to go beyond a certain perspective? And if I'm beyond that questioning, is it coming from my heart because my heart desires to move past it, move past the story of this is where it's comfortable? And that's one of the ways that we can kind of discern what's coming from our head and what's coming from our heart. Our heart always pushes us further. Our heart always desires more.
For me, our head, and I love it because we speak about it from different directions, different perspectives, and that is so important, because I think it helps more people to be able to listen and to understand, because they maybe think about it differently and realize that we're saying the same thing in our own different ways.
Right.
And
Yeah.
for me, our head is sort of more like the ego, but the ego isn't about, I know people use the word ego in so many different ways, but for me, the head of the ego is to protect us. And it is not about saying to the ego, the head, get out the way. It's about saying, thank you. Thank you for the protection that you have given me over the years. However, I am not that tiny child the role you were given of protector. I'm not that tiny child anymore. Your support over the years has taught me I therefore no longer require you in that role. Can we change your role, please? Can we do a much better, more fulfilling role? And so I put it in the terms of like a company. You've been the accountant who stops you. Now please be the personal assistant who supports the CEO with making things happen. Become that support for listening to my heart, supporting me, yes, to continue to stay safe, but to do those things that are really, really speaking to me. Yes. Rather than holding me back with that, as you said, that fear. Rather than holding me back, support me to move forward and live my life. So is it who, which is, for me, it is us, we hold ourselves back. The what is an aspect of ourselves that we've been given that was there when we were born as our protector.
Yes, I do agree. I do agree. And I'm going to switch gears just a little bit, and I'm going to talk about what holds us back externally. Because one of the things that we love to do is we love to seek information external to ourselves to validate, to almost like ask permission to move forward. Whether it's based on our insecurity because we just want somebody else's, not necessarily approval, but just support to move forward. But what happens when that judgment comes? What happens when you get that external judgment that says, are you crazy? I wouldn't do that. That's not safe. That's too risky. That's crazy. Why would you even think or consider doing that? And it derails you. The judgment derails where you want to go. It derails your creativity. And you've given a portion of your power away. You've given a portion of the power that you, or the momentum that you felt moving forward, you've just given away because you've allowed someone else's opinion to knock you off kilter, off center.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that that's really, really important.
Yeah. And when I had the ideas for Gift of Healing TV, the whole thought, it was just like, okay. And it was just like, I just knew I had to do it. I was given the access. I had the access to Webinar Jam. which we're using for this one. And it was no website, no this, no that, the other, but I got lots of connections. And it was just like, do you know what? I have enough to get started. It may not be perfect, but I have enough. But
Yes.
I connected with somebody else, and he said, no, you've got to make sure you've got a website in place. You've got this in place. You've got that in place. You've got the other in place. And I thought, and then he was meant to be working with me, and we were meant to be doing it together. That was the thought. And I've ended up by doing it all on my own. Because something cropped up within his life, absolutely. But he wasn't meant to be a part of it. You've got to have this, that, and the other in place. It was just like, no, I haven't. I just feel so strongly this is what I should be doing. I went out and did it anyway.
Yes.
And it's having that confidence to get started from scratch with not necessarily everything in place, enough that you can get going.
And I want to expound on that, because what you're saying is really, really powerful. I was one of those people that I worked in corporate for 20 plus years. And at the end of my corporate career, I did a 360-degree turn, and I worked in an area that wasn't technical, but really just moved the passion of my heart, which was women's empowerment. I always wanted to travel more. There was this aspiration and this dream I had. And people thought that I was crazy. You're not going to start that. You're too old to start that. How are you going to do that? You have these responsibilities. I just don't see it for you. That's crazy. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. No, that just doesn't make any sense. It does not have to make sense to anyone else. It has to make sense for you. I took the characteristics of what I love the most in who I am and the skill set and the value that I bring forward. And I created the job around me. And then I went around the world working with the tool set that I created for myself as my own business, creating my own business, and stepped away from a corporate job. And people are like, oh, no, you have to have structure. You can't do this. You can't do that. If I listened to every person that told me I could not, I would still be in the same place that I was. We have to dare to see beyond other people's fear, judgment, and inability to move forward where they're stuck. To step into our own power and our own truth and our own dreams. And yes, we do need support around doing that. Everyone wants to feel supported, but if you don't have it, still do not be afraid to dare to do it. So for me, I always wanted to study with Indigenous teachers. I always wanted to travel around the world. And now I step back and I look, and I also teach around the world. And I teach women's empowerment and motivational speaking for those people who really just want to dare to live their dreams. And I've done it from the South Pacific to Africa to Europe to South America, back to America, all around this world. Yeah. And then what was so ironic is that I had coworkers who were still back in corporate calling me back saying, how did you do it? How did you put the vision in place? How did you step into it? I want to do that too. And we have to dare to stand in our truth, no matter what people think. And we cannot take on other people's judgments and fears as our own. They're not ours. They're other people's.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And going back to another point we were making earlier, sort of about, I sort of said, we come at things different directions. Think about complementary therapies and the life coaches, etc., etc. We're all here in our own unique way, supporting people to connect with themselves to heal themselves, to be able to do what you and I have done.
Yes. Yes. And as a life coach, that's what I do. As a woman that does women's empowerment, if we are strong enough to confront our own limitations, that is what opens the door for us to dare to be courageous, to do anything that we want to do, to be that person that goes upstream when everybody else is going down, to dare to be that person who is unique enough to say, I'm going to stand out. I don't mind standing out. I'm supposed to stand out. And I'm doing it differently. And I don't care what the framework is set up for it to happen.
Yep.
That I dare to be my own woman, or I dare to be my own person. And I dare to be that beacon and say, I'm doing it this way. And it's okay. And giving myself permission to be unique, giving myself permission to be the only one sometimes.
Yeah.
And giving myself permission to say, I'm doing it differently, and I'm going to create the framework versus following the framework.
Yeah.
And I dare to do what I love the most instead of doing what I've been told to do, which has been a lot of us our whole lives, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. And from the upbringings with our families, the schooling, the religions, so I'm not, picking out anything particular here. It is everything that has gone on in our lives and we feel that we have to be limited when we are limitless, when we allow ourselves to be. I have chosen to work with Gift of Healing TV totally differently to everybody else who does anything remotely similar. Because their way of doing it does not resonate with me. If it resonates with them, that's brilliant. But it doesn't resonate with me. So I do things my way. You do things your way. And the way everybody else does it, the way I do it. The way everybody else does your thing, well, they don't. That's just it. They don't do our thing. But it's okay because there is no right or wrong way to do things.
Right.
It's just our way of doing things.
And I love to expound on that in the respect that if you do not dream a beautiful dream for yourself, you will be dreamt. In other words, your life becomes the antithesis of what everybody else perceives you to be, and you're fulfilling that role. Well, a good mother looks like this, so this is how a good mother's supposed to be. Well, a good wife looks like this, so this is how a good wife's supposed to be. This is how the good daughter is supposed to be. This is how the good worker is supposed to be. This is how. And we put on all of these roles. And I guess my challenge to everyone out there, and especially in this time right now, shed the roles and dare to define those roles as you see them to be. Dare to stand as the courageous woman or person that you are and redefine what those roles mean to you as the person that you are. And dare to stand in your own truth. See, somebody will say, well, the truth is this, and this, but you and I can be looking at the same exact thing, and my truth can be very different from your truth, and we're looking at the same exact thing. My truth is my truth. Your truth is your truth. We have to step into our own. We have to be secure in who we are. We have to dare to be unique in who we are and give ourselves permission to be unique. And then we have to dare to define what we want our framework to look like and then operate by our framework and not be afraid to open the door to different possibilities and different perspectives, which helps us widen our perspectives more and more and more so that we don't limit ourselves. And if you are not able to do this, then that is why we are here in place. And that's what I do. I help people dare to step into their dreams. I help people dare to work on what it is that prevents them from moving forward.
Yeah.
So that they can embrace fully who they are and what they want to do.
And it is so important that we are true to ourselves, but honor everybody else to be true to themselves. It is absolutely not about us saying, this is how it's got to be done. This is how I choose to do it. How do you choose to do whatever it is you choose to do? You know, for my 60th, a friend very sweetly bought me a wing walk. All my other friends' reactions were, Sarah, how the heck can you do that? You know, if somebody else was to say to me, would you do a bungee jump? My answer would be, no, never. I can never, ever, ever see me doing that. But those of you that wish to go do it, do it. And I honor in you the fact that you've got the courage to do it, because I haven't. I'm not going there. But the friends, it was quite easy. All I have to do is walk onto the top of those wings, get strapped in. The pilot flies the plane. Once I'm strapped in, I've got nothing to do. Just enjoy it. You know,
yes.
And that, you know, so what is stopping you, not just in living your life in respect of the things that you do from a work, a life affirming perspective, but what other things do you do in your life? So,
exactly.
So like I've done the wing walk, like I've done the zip wire, like I've walked with wolves, you know, sort of gone out to Egypt on my own and got the chance to sort of, I didn't actually physically get to touch the dolphins, but you know, it was in an area where it was at snorkeling and dolphins appeared. I've gone and done that on my own. They were things that felt right. Go to the pyramids and see the Sphinx. I've done it. You know, whatever it is. But then I've got something simple, like throwing a pot and doing a bit of pottery. So it hasn't got to be the great exaggerated things like some of the things I've done, but it can be the little things too. What would you like to experience? What would you like to do? Birthday presents for me aren't, don't give me a thing. Let me have an experience.
Yes. I would totally love, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I would totally love to have an experience over materialistic things. I would love that. I remember doing a laundry list of all of the things that I wanted to learn, you know, and that's with whether I got married, with the kids and everything else, all of the things that I wanted to learn. And I've learned them. I always wanted to horseback ride. I always wanted to scuba dive. I horseback ride. I have my scuba diving certification. I always wanted to golf. I can golf. I always wanted to, you know, hike up the mountains. I do that, you know, swimming and taking swimming really, really seriously. I do that. I mean, there are a plethora of things that I've always wanted to do. And pursuing them. And one of the things I always wanted to do was travel. I remember the first trip I ever took to Africa, I walked 100 miles across the east and west Savo parts of Kenya. I always wanted, and not only did I visit Africa, but I walked the land. And I met my brothers and sisters, and there was all this fear and trepidation of, oh my gosh, well, you can't go there alone. Yes, you can. You know, oh, you don't know, you'll be robbed, you're this. I had everyone projecting their fear all over me. And I went and I had the most amazing time. And my brothers and sisters in Africa were more than open arms and embracing. And I know what you mean about Egypt. I've been to Egypt, and actually I've been able to traverse Africa and Angola and South Africa and Brazil and Chile and just all over the world in Europe, and just meeting beautiful people all over the world. But if I listened to some of the people that came up in my life, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. I would have never gone anywhere.
Oh, seriously, when it came to abseiling off the water tower locally, my mother's reaction, Sarah, you can't do that. You can't do that. I am going to do that.
So
So it is. It is.
Yeah.
So it's so we're not here just talking about our roles in life.
No.
It's about life as a whole.
About living life.
Life is
Living
for
it
living and
fully.
experiencing. Absolutely. And, you know, if there are things that you're saying, no, 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 don't want to do that, that's fine. They don't resonate with you, don't do them. You know, but if there's something that feels right, start with the little things. Yeah, I didn't. Well, the abseil was probably one of the first things once I got the confidence to say, this is what I'm going to try, you know, sort of. And then I sort of ended up by going for 2 weeks to Romania, tracking wolves and lynx with the Carpathian Large Carnivore Project. So, and again, it was part of a group, but a whole group of people I didn't know. So I went on my own. So there was nobody I knew before I went, you know, and it was just giving yourself the chance to actually walk through the Carpathian Mountains, follow the tracks of the wolves in the snow. Yeah, sort of give yourself the permission to experience life.
And not only that, in the day and age that we're in now, the old framework doesn't work. A lot of the old framework is falling apart. So I guess the message I want to send out to our listeners is dare to redefine what the framework looks like and make your own. This is the time. This is the time right here and now to create your own framework, to expand, go beyond the limitations of what's always been defined and how it's always been done, and redefine these walls. I think if nothing else that we understand is that what has been doesn't work. And don't be afraid to create something new.
Yeah.
To redefine what the walls should look like for you, how you choose to embrace it, and where your heart resides in it. And instead of the conforming and confirmation of how I have to make myself fit, but just allow yourself to stand out.
Which I think leads us perfectly in to our next program. Are you standing in your truth? Why life is no longer an unconscious journey. So I think that is perfect. But what I would like to finish with, because while I was waiting for Enolia to join me before we started, I have a book that I like to write loads of little quotes that I find in. And I thought, oh, what would I use it before I started this? And it opened at a page, which is a poem that Koipeli, I work with the dragons that guard over the Earth's crystals. Koipeli, and they've all, and the whole group of them have given me their names as well. Koipeli is the dragon that guards over the Earth crystal selenite. And this just fitted for me so beautifully with this program. You are a bright, shining star, a wondrous being of light. On the day you were born, your spark was ignited. The flame in your heart shines brightly still. Open your mind. Let go of judgment of yourself. You are an amazing being, a candle for the world around you. Let your light shine in the darkness. Be a witness as your glow spreads. As you share your light, others start to share theirs. The light of love grows. The light of your love is a beacon for all those whose lives you are here to touch. Your light is reflected by them, and in turn, they help others to shine. One candle can light thousands of others without losing of itself. Be that candle, be that guiding light. Never underestimate the power of your light. Trust and believe in yourself, in the special being that you are, in the power of love. Listen only to that which speaks to your heart. Hear only that which makes your heart sing. See only that that fills you with joy. Feel with your heart. Life is a gift. Experience it, enjoy it, grow from it. Your heart and soul are one, the core of who you truly are. This was written actually near December, especially at this time of year, the season of hope, the season of love, the season of giving. Give yourself permission to be true to you, to follow your path, to shine your light, to share your love. We believe in you, sweet soul. Believe in yourself. Koi Pele.
Beautiful.
So I think we will end there. Enolia, it's been wonderful as always. Thank you very much indeed. I know we've run a bit over, but when we had a few hiccups at the beginning. So.
Yes, we did. And I would just like to share with our listeners that if they are interested in my work, please just visit me at www.enolia, that's ENOLIA, enolia.live. And I'd be happy to work with you. I have an upcoming class in August 22nd called Expressing Your Inner Voice, and I would love to work with you in expressing your inner voice. And I do a free meditation on Mondays. So chime into that. And again, all of that information can be found and registration can be found on my website. So please do join me there and Facebook and Instagram and all of those great things. Enolia Empowers. And on Instagram and Facebook is just good old Enolia.
Check out giftofhealingtv.com. We've got loads of free videos, interviews, meditations, exercises. They're all there for you. And if you're interested in the dragons and the messages from many other mythical beings, ourmagicalfriends.com and sound energy, vocalreiki.com. There is so much free on all of those websites. Just enjoy them.
Yes.
And if it touches you further, that's fine. But just enjoy the messages. You know, that was a message from, I think, 2016. So sort of I've been sharing from the dragons and many other mythical beings for quite some time now. So please feel free to just enjoy what we share. And
yes.
we look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks.
Yes, we are. And I just want to say, if you missed our first 2 episodes and you're interested, please check out our 2 episodes on YouTube.
Yep, you will find them. I know Nolia's got a page on her website. There's also a page on giftofhealingtv.com. Do check them out. We're both sharing all of this.
Yes.
We're working together, so we're both sharing it.
Absolutely.
Take care, folks. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. Take care, be safe, stay well. Enolia.
We will see you soon. We love you.
Namaste, folks. Take care.